Hello, my name's Scott, and today I'm going to walk you through how to use an array in order to automate formulas within Excel. So in order to do this, we're going to explain first what is an array. An array is a table that's comprised of rows and columns. So knowing that, we can move forward. Let's start off by creating our formula that lets us automate the population of cells. So to start off, we'll type in equals array formula. Then we'll use an if function and an ISBLANK function. With this, with an array formula, instead of selecting column A2, we're instead going to select a range. In this case, it's going to be A2 to A, which essentially means that everything between A2 and beyond is subject to this formula. Since we're saying if is blank, that means that any cell with the value will populate. Now we need to choose what it will populate with. So when the cell is blank, we're going to leave it empty. But when the cell has a value, we're going to say not empty. Great. Now we have a very simple formula that lets us tell when a cell is empty. If I delete a value, it'll return to being blank. And if I add it back in, it'll also get populated. The interesting behavior of array formulas is that they only exist within the cell where you create the formula itself. In my case, it's C2. Everywhere else, the formulas, when you click over them, you don't see them and they don't really exist there. If I delete the contents of the cells, you'll see they're automatically refilled immediately. What's great is if I want to add in new content, let's say I type in Amazon again, we'll see that it gets automatically populated as soon as I do that. So here I try to delete it, automatically filled back in. How can this be used? So in a regular day, you might be working on Excel sheets where you constantly need to add in new values. And a lot of your other formulas, you might need to drag them down. I have an example here of something that's a little more practical than telling us whether the cell is empty or not. So here we've got an if function that I'm going to make work. So here, is the share price greater than $500? So in Tesla's case, yes. Apple's case, no. So we're going to drag this down. And as you can see, it fills it out. We have yes, no, no, yes, yes. But let's say I wanted to add in additional values. So in this case, I've already prepared them. We've got Netflix, Salesforce, PayPal, Shopify, and Facebook. If I wanted to copy these in, as you can see, this column C automatically populated, whereas column D did not. Nothing happened. So what are we going to do? In this case, just so that you could see how it works, I'm actually going to modify these formulas. It's going to give me an error, and then we're going to fix that error. So to change this into an array function, we are going to add a snippet of code in front of our current formula, and then we're going to modify our if function so that this works properly. So we start off with array formula. Then we add our if function, ISBLANK function. We select our range, which is A2 and beyond, so therefore to A. We can then add our, if it's blank, we want it to be empty. And if there's a value, we then want this formula to apply. Our if B2 is greater than 500, we want it to tell us yes or no. So we have that. And when I click enter, it doesn't work. So it doesn't work for two reasons. One, an array function will not work if it can't expand. So in this case, we had previously dragged down values, and these are blocking the array formula from functioning. So I'll go ahead and remove these, and it still won't work because what's happening here is we haven't selected an array for our second if function. So here, as you can see, Apple, which is 132, is coming up as yes. In order to fix this, because I'll just explain right here, this is saying in each instance for the range A2 to A, if B2, it's only looking at B2, is greater than 500, yes, if not, no. We instead want to apply this to the range of B2 and beyond. So in order to do that, we're going to turn this B2 from a cell into a range by adding ... B. Now that that's done, the function will update. And as you can see, now it's correct. Going back to our shares in the other cell, we're going to recopy and paste them in. And as you can see, the formulas now apply. So how can we use this beyond what I've shown you? There's several different ways. One, we can actually automate a VLOOKUP. So in this case, here, we have these cells. Instead, what I want to do is I want to do a VLOOKUP so that my cells A7 to A11 get populated through an array function, since they exist on the other table. So in order to do that, we could actually copy our automation portion of the code. We'll paste that into our new cell. And then we're actually going to modify this. So instead of starting from A2, we're going to start that from A7. And we're also going to drag that down so that it starts at the right place. So A7 and beyond. Now we're going to add a VLOOKUP. So here, we're going to do our VLOOKUP. We're going to select, in this case, our range. So A7 to A. We'll then go over to our more share prices, select them as our range. We need to select our column number, which is column 2. And we're going to add a 0 so that it's not ordering. Now we click enter. And as you can see, the VLOOKUP automatically applies. Let's say we now want to add in an additional company. I will name it Scott Inc. And this share is worth $1,000. Now, when I copy Scott Inc. into here, what we'll see is that all these cells populate based on the formulas that I've put in. What this lets you do is take external data and automatically apply your normalization formulas to it whenever new cells are added. Using tools like gconnector while connecting to Salesforce lets you take things that would normally, you'd spend a lot of time dragging down VLOOKUP formulas. It makes it super easy to do a lot in a little bit of time using automation. So that's it. That's my favorite formula that I apply to everything. It's an array function using an if is blank. And with this, you can save tons of time and you can pretty much automate everything you do. If you found this helpful, please feel free to subscribe. I'd appreciate it. And please leave a comment if you have any questions or if you are having trouble getting this to work. Take care.